Extroverted sensing is the function by which we process the world of moving parts, emergent activities, and the senses. It is generally associated with motion, with things happening in the now. There are two ways in which it can be thought of in regards to the church. One is fun, and the other one is managed sensuality. I'll explain managed sensuality in a moment, as the term only occurred to me about 30 seconds ago. Fun. Most humans would define fun as spontaneous, as energetic, as lighthearted. Not me. As an INTJ, my idea of fun involves things like museums, state parks, board games, writing songs and performing songs. That's not really fun, that's passion. That's something I don't think I could live without creating things. But outside of creating things, which is kind of a purpose, things that involve the mind, for me. But so, I mean, I'm not that ideal person. So for the extroverted sensing thing. So therefore, it becomes an engine of energy to harness for things that really benefit from fun and excitement, such as children's ministry, youth ministry, sports ministry, or evangelism. Those things are often really connected with people with strong senses of extroverted sensing that are often evangelists and often artisans, ESTPs, ESFPs, ISFPs, ISTPs, people that are often have a capacity for participating in those things and drawing others into the enjoyment of those things. Now, the other term I want to throw at you, which is, I think, coined by myself in the past few minutes, managed sensuality. I think churches have an ambivalent relationship with the senses. Sensuality sounds pretty carnal when I say it, but sensual just means other senses, right? So I think to be alive means you have senses and you are sensual. To be in a body means you have senses and you are sensual. To be religious means you are resisting those things, means you are categorizing them, means you're putting boundaries on them. And so you end up with this strange little thing. How are you a religious person with senses? And I think that various churches manage this in different ways. I'm not going to name lots of denominations. I think I named a few too many earlier in this series. But there is a denomination where many aspects of fun are discouraged. Cards or dancing. But there's no particular problem with overeating. Overeating is certainly sensual. I want to tell you, my senses are fully engaged. Tell me you can't have a big hot plate of poutine. If you don't know what poutine is, you need to try it. And not feel like your senses are all talking to you about how great this is. That in that moment, things are kind of okay with the potatoes and the gravy and the curds. That for a moment, things are all right. That your senses are telling you things are okay. You're not aware your back hurts. You're not aware of the bill that's due. You're just there with the poutine. Poutine is a great food. And as Cookie Monster would say, poutine is a sometimes food. It's a sometimes, like cookies, it's a sometimes food. But what they do is they create an environment where some of these sensory activities are fun and encouraged and can be done in a group. And certainly you can overeat as a group. That's a common Christian behavior. You can overeat as a group, but they want to see that they're putting up the boundaries and the fences. They want to, so they are managing the sensuality. So they put these, I talked about a parent-child relationship between SJs and SPs in the church. Okay, we're trying to maintain order, but there's a lot of complaint about the music not being loud enough, so we'll compromise and bring it up 50%, but that's as far as we're going, because if we don't, we're going to lose the octogenarians. Octogenarians. I like that word. So it's sense that they're pushing those boundaries and being pushed back. And these are in abso grid terminology. Subordinate alpha is pushing back on challenger betas, those who are testing the boundaries and those who are reinforcing the boundaries. Another example could be a denomination. I'm going to call it a denomination. It's controversial, but it is. Where whatever you do, provided you get into a private room with your professional and tell them all the things you did, and they tell you what you have to do to make up for it, you're going to be okay. Now, you can throw in a name if you want there to who I'm talking about, but you are managing the sensuality. You are managing it by giving a, well, you have to go talk about it. You have to go, fix it. There are places where Christianity is practiced where very, very young people start marriages by secretly beginning a physical relationship. Somebody gets pregnant, they get married immediately, and they just present the whole package to the parents. Okay, we're 13, we're 14, we're 15, we're 18. So what can you do about it? We've created the situation, and they've managed the sensuality. They've gone and done the physical sensual thing, and then put some kind of law around it. So, in that sense, if you have strong extroverted sensing in the church, you are going to likely bring some of the things that make it more vibrant, more alive, more fun, but also bring elements that are going to make others want to put fences around you. Which, if you are naturally flexible the way an artisan is, that's going to be really easy to deal with, because that's part of the subordinate alpha challenger beta dynamic. Push, 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 push. It reaffirms both people's sense of value. I think that if that perceiver, that extroverted sensing happens to be in an NS function stack, they're at least more likely to understand it in terms of the good of the group. Even if they're not as bound to it the way an introverted sensor is, they understand, well, the group is telling us what it wants, and that's more important than what I want. However, that fencing thing, because NTs will not be doing the things that push the boundaries for the same reasons, the fencing will result in an NT coming back with a debate. Well, why is this thing wrong here if it's not wrong there? And why, can you tell me where the Bible says I can't? You will find this among NTs who have concluded different things than you about tobacco, that read the word and concluded different things about you than alcohol. And the resulting debate will hit a church's introverted sensing hard. Like, why is this person debating the way we do things? And it will create a distance between the NTs and the SJs of a given group of God's people over whether or not something can be discussed, even if it is in the bedrock of a church's introverted sensing traditions. If I have encouraged you, blessed you, equipped you in any fashion, please like and subscribe.